Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to yet another wonderful SketchUp live stream. But today is no ordinary stream because we have next to me Eric Sargeant in the building. Aaron is on a trip over to Europe, and so we took the opportunity to call in one of our friends, one of the most talented modelers, I think, on the planet, Eric Sargeant. What do you think, Eric? Are you one of the most talented modelers on the planet? It's a
Oh
loaded
man, I
question,
do
I
not
guess.
want that kind of pressure on me. Let's just say that I am aspiring to be one of the most talented modelers on the planet. How does that sound?
I think that sounds great. Yeah, I think you're well on your way. I feel like whenever I have ever seen you do a live stream or a video or any type of SketchUp content, I always learn something new. So, yeah, I'm super excited for today's stream. I feel like it's an action-packed agenda. We have a lot going on. So, um, yeah, do you want to give us a little bit of an overview of what we're looking at, what we're getting into?
Yeah, let me start by saying thank you for having me back. It's been almost a year since I've done this, and I've missed it. I'm jealous that you I'm not jealous. Let me not say it that way. I'm thankful to be here, and I do still have a few tricks to share. So I definitely am looking forward to this. So let's see. Let's see. Where are we going? Where are we going today? So you asked when you invited me to come and take Aaron's place while he's out of town. You guys said, "Oh, what should we do?" And I think that's the hardest part to answer. It's like, well, we could go in 100 different directions. We don't get one shot at this. My first instinct was to model what I always love, which is historic architecture. It's mostly symmetrical. It's good proportions. It's all the stuff that I enjoy doing. But then you guys are like, oh, I'm kind of, the grading stuff does well. Advanced grading, really complex terrain manipulation does well on YouTube. And I thought, well, yeah, that is fun too. That's always a challenge. Grading's a challenge. And I said, well, let's pick something that combines those two things. So that's what we're going to do today. I can share my screen now, right? Am I
Yeah,
sharing it?
yeah. Let's hop in.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah. Okay. So let me do that because that way you can see what I'm saying. So anyway, hi everyone to the chat. Before I forget you, don't forget, I can see you guys. So please leave a comment. I'm also going to do a shameless promotion really quick before I forget. And I put a little watermark on my screen. It's called Urban Story. It's something I've been cooking up in my head for like the last year. And I'm using this opportunity to finally get out of my head and onto YouTube. So I am starting my own channel, which I'm going to push called Urban Story Studio, and we'll put a link in the description. Thank you, Justin, for that. So I'm going to be some of the stuff that you're going to see here, all these tips and tricks. A lot of them are the design principles, design explorations. All of that stuff is going to be reworked in sort of my own voice and put in my own channel. But I hope that just means that we're going to be working together more and not less. There, shameless plug out of the way. So back to today, we are doing a project that's been really special to me. I used to live in Oregon and Portland, for those that know that, and this is the Columbia River Gorge just outside of Portland, and there's this little house. It's called the Vista House. It's not actually a house, and it sits on this knoll called Crown Point, and it's just you see it as you drive, and unless you go up the old, I think, historic highway went up and over. And so that's why this house sits there. And it's really cool because you can see it from the new highway, which is down low by the Columbia River. And it's just this really amazing spot and this incredible view. And I thought this is perfect because it combines, like I said, I want to do two things. We want to do terrain, we want to do landscape, we want to go big, and we want to do maybe bring in some historic architecture. So the first thing we need to do, and please interrupt me, Justin, if there's questions or anything, because sometimes I just, me,
No worries. I just
I
wanted to
just,
say that Ahmad has already subscribed to your YouTube channel, so that you might have your first subscriber already.
number one, awesome, good. Someday I'll have some perks or something for like when I hit 100 or 1,000 or whatever it is, because that's awesome. Thank you, Ahmad. Love you, buddy. So we need to, let me just explain what we're doing really quick because it helps to frame how we would approach this, because you just can't start riffing. Otherwise it'll take us 3 or 4 or 5 hours and we'll hit some dead ends, and maybe that's fun to watch, maybe not. But we need to start with the existing terrain first. We need to have the context for what we're doing. And then what we need to do is we're going to pause, we're going to pivot for a minute, and we're going to switch gears and we're going to go do some architecture. So again, something for everybody in this stream. So once we have kind of that existing landscape and we know where we're going to put, our building, we're going to just model this up really quick. And I do have some CAD line work for this, so that'll actually speed the process up just a little bit, so we can focus more on the modeling and less on like the tracing windows over and over and over again.
Yeah, I love that you've done a lot of homework going into this. I mean, it's really admirable because, you know, Aaron typically takes the approach of having a completely blank slate before even like opening up SketchUp here, and that's fun to see too. But I appreciate that, you know, we're in for like a really, really amazing agenda here, and I think that if you just opened up Landshape for the first time on this stream, yeah, that would be a different
And
type of
that's
stream.
and exactly, you're right. I'm gonna go into Landshape because that is going to be my secret weapon for how we're going to not only accomplish what we're going to try to here is when we bring it all together. We're going to bring in some trees. We're going to bring in some context. We're going to bring in all the roads and the grading. Everything's going to come together. I would not be able probably to do it at least to the level, to either the speed or to the level of accuracy that I'm hoping to achieve today if I didn't have this help from this new extension. And a big shout out to the developers, friends of mine. I can call them friends. I would visit them in Sweden, the Holygon team. So that's Felix and Anders for the work that they've put into this. So obviously we're going to get into the extension. We're going to spend quite a bit of time with the extension. This stream is not only about Landshape. It's just that Landshape is going to be sort of this thing that's going to get us to where we want to go, right? So, all right. Any questions or concerns before we just dive in?
No questions, concerns. Again, we like to give our shout outs to where people are tuning in from. And once again, we have a worldwide audience here. We have folks from Vancouver, Washington. We have folks from Toronto, from Florida, over in Europe, from Syria. So thank you all for spending your Friday with us. And even Holygon's here. So that's really cool too. Yeah, we have a great audience today. So thank you for tuning in.
Oh, and I should have, thank you. While you're doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this up. Look at that, so funny. Just came up with a random house. I'm going to find the Vista House crown point, and the reason why is because I'm gonna need to see this myself, because I'm going to be looking at things and I'm going to forget, oh wait, that's there and this turns here. I'm not going to have this up on the screen the whole time, because if you guys want to follow along, you can feel free to find Vista House Crown Point, which is in Oregon, and then you can see that. But I have two screens, so what I'm probably going to do is just put this on my other screen, and I'm going to refer to it. So yeah, I needed to kind of load that, because that will sort of be my starting point for. There's going to be some things I'm going to be like, how does that go again? Anyway, so cool. Terrain. We need to start with some terrain. Now, add location, we can do that, but I am going to instead use a trick that I've shown a few times before in the past, and this is, let me find the file here. I'm going to start with what's called height map. Now, height map is going to give me a little bit more information than the digital globe terrain. So, and there's, you can find this online. We can put a link in the description if you want. It's called Tangram. It's free. So you just go find where you want. And if you look really, really closely, there are labels. You can turn labels on and off. So you can kind of see like, that's where we're going. So this is our little crown point circle. That's our high point. White is high, black is low. And that's going to kind of give us pretty much a really good area to work with. And then we can always crop in if we want, which you'll see in just a minute. So let's do that. Let's start there.
Cool. Yeah, I don't think I've ever taken this approach to doing terrain, so I'm curious to see how this works.
One thing with the height map, if you're going to use the height map method, you want to bring the pixel resolution down low. So 500 pixels or less. It's weird. 500 pixels seems really small, but every pixel becomes a certain number of triangles, the way TomTom wrote the script. So hang on, I'm going to back up. I'm going to start by bringing in my own aerial, because it's going to help me, because I need something with a scale. The height map doesn't have a scale. The height map is for height, but I need to know. Firstly, we need to know. This is the funny part about doing this is Aaron makes it look easy, but when you're talking and describing what you're doing and like doing something really tricky at the same time, that's left over from practice. Sometimes it's like, oh wait, what was I doing again? So I got this aerial. It's a little bit, I got this aerial from online and I thought, okay, this is good, because if you look at the Google aerial really quick, I don't know if this is true for Digital Globe, but somehow it got distorted. Do you see how it feels like it's stretched? So I was like, oh crap, I can't use the Google Earth imagery that I would normally use. So I found a different source, and this is going to be my source map. This is a 500-foot bar. If I double check the width of my building, it should be somewhere around 45. This is pretty pixelated because at this scale, yeah, 45. So I'm going to say that's close enough for what we need to do here. Okay, we're going to bring in the height map now. I want to do the aerial first because the aerial gives me essentially a bounding box for the height map. So this is TomTom's extension. It's called bitmap to mesh. So what we're doing here is we're taking the bitmap image, which is the height map, and we're interpolating it. We're converting white to up and black to down. So there it is. Now there's a little bit of an edge around it, and that's because the way that it's basically like pixel noise on the image, and that's something that we can either manually crop out, or we'll get to in a second. Landshape has this really cool feature that makes that really simple. Now here's the problem. The height map gave me height, but it didn't tell me how high. So for example, is this how high we are? Is this how high we are? I don't really know. Now, again, this is where the pre-work comes, because if I didn't pre-work this, if I didn't pre-think this, I would have to do all of this. You'd have to watch me go to Google and do this, but it's pretty easy. You just draw a path in Google, and then you follow along the path, and you follow right there. That front step, that is the high point of this building. Literally the front door is the high point. They placed the front door on the highest point of this little ridge line, and that's 742 feet. And you can't see it, but down here there's a little watermark covering it, but the lake level is at 14 feet. So we're going to use 14 feet, 742. So 742 minus 14 is that 728?
728, right? That's right.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So that's what we need to do. We need to find our null here. Sometimes it helps with the shadow settings. Sometimes it helps to just adjust the position of the sun, because you can see how the sun and shade affects that null. We know our high point is right here because this is the stairs. So if we turned this a little bit, even turned hidden geometry on, you can see that even the actual building showed up in this height map, which is interesting. And we're going to regrade this so it looks a little chunky right now, and that's okay. So I'm going to find pretty much right here what I think is the front door. And then I'm going to type in that 728 feet. And there's a little bit of math, folks, but bear with me. And we're going to drop that straight down so that it sits flush. And then this is where we can, I'm going to turn profiles off for this, because sometimes, at least for now, because sometimes I feel like it is easier to see when you don't have all those edges. So now what I want to do is just bring this I'm just vertically scaling until that line, see that line, until it just pokes its little line head out. So if I go, I'm just going to do there.
Cool.
So there it is. Okay, cool. So now we have within just a couple minutes, we have some really nice existing terrain. I'm going to save this, and we have the height, so it's scaled correctly. This is where we're going to move into Landshape, because all we needed was an input data set. We just needed a source. So this source here is going to be, we're going to translate all this stuff. We're going to move it basically into Landshape. And I think someone from Holygon, I don't know if it's Felix, is on the chat. So if I misspeak about a term or a tool, obviously let me know, but I'm going to do my best to represent you guys correctly. So the first thing I want to do is I want to come over here, and I'm using the right-click menu, which you might seem as clunky. I wouldn't maybe normally do this, but I will say that Landshape has a lot of really great tools. I don't know what every single one of their icons are. So if I were to open up the toolbar icon, there's a lot of tools I'm not using and I don't know. I haven't played with. I've only had maybe a day to play around with this. So I'm actually just going straight to the tools that the 3 or 4 or 5 that I've learned. So the first one that I want to do is basically I want to grab what's called input vertices. So clone is just means copy. So I'm copying the vertices, which are the endpoints from the terrain. So it's very, very fast. You can see one thing that Landshape does is it is very processor quick. So if I turned my terrain off, for example, in fact, I'm just going to delete it. That's kind of scary. You did all that work and then you're just going to dump it. So what I have is I have these guide points, essentially, that are representing every single one of these vertices. And they're the guides because if I turn over and I say view guides, you can see they turn off. I think I have a shortcut for that. So I can turn my guide points on and off. But what we want to do is create a mesh. Now, I talked about this little messy stuff. This came in from the height map. That was just noise that you just get by normally. So normally I manually crop that out. But I think if I do this right, I can draw a boundary. For example, if I wanted to, it's a little hard to see because the guide points are so dark. But if I wanted just to crop in a little bit, for example, I don't want my whole terrain, I can take this thing here, this little bounding box, and basically create a clipping mask. So I would take these two things and I would select both of them. Before I do this, I remember talking to the Landshape guys. They say before you create a terrain mesh, you want to come over here and you want to double check your settings because you have this thing called resolution. The resolution is going to be like the number of polygons. So obviously the lower the number, like 1 foot, it's going to be a lot of each triangle is going to be 1 foot. If you do something like 20 foot, each triangle is going to be 20 foot. So it's going to be less information. So we want to split that difference. I'm going to go with something like 12 feet, and then we're going to use 6 feet for like our detailed grading. I think now if I set that first, and then I come over here and I go Landshape, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create form. So form is basically like I'm going to form a terrain using these vertices and this clipping mask. And there it is. So if I turn my guides off, I now have a Landshape terrain. And a Landshape terrain is like a smart terrain. It's like a terrain on steroids. Like, for example, think of it like a group and a component. Like a group holds information, but it doesn't really do very much. Or like a dynamic component. But a dynamic component holds information, but you can do all this stuff now. So I've got like this turbocharged terrain. And you don't have to use a simple rectangle. If you wanted to use a clipping mask, like a circle, or if you wanted to draw a really cool polygon, just to make something like really cool looking, you could do that. I'm also going to turn on, just because it's kind of cool, you can just do that. It's called skirt. So I'm going to skirt this. I know that NRoth has a terrain volume extension that does that. And it's kind of cool because I don't need multiple extensions. I could just do this all in one. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to come over here and add some water because we're just building up our existing information. So I'm going to come over here, Landshape, and it's this thing called splash. It's kind of funny because it's like the Holygon guys, I love these guys, like the word splash instead of like add water. We're going to splash this thing, they're having some fun with us. So what I'm going to do is I want to pull that up not to the road level because that would be too high. But if you look at the aerial, it probably comes up to like that first, comes up to here. And then you can splash high like this. I'm going to undo it because it's so fast. So you can see what splash does is it just creates, this is what happens with global warming when it finally hits.
Yeah, this is like a tsunami that's coming.
Exactly. So that's a little bit high. So what I'll do is just undo that. And I'll just right click it and I'll just say splash. We're going to splash again.
Cool. You have multiple people in the chat that are reminding you to save, by the way.
Thanks. Yeah, I try to do that like just religiously. Okay, so we're going to splash, but we're just, okay. Let me do that again. I think I was, yeah, okay, that looks good. Okay, so now I've got my water. Oh, it didn't happen over here. Maybe I didn't go high enough. Let me do that again. I'm talking. This is the problem with talking. main. I'm gonna do this one last time, otherwise we're gonna come back to it and we're gonna do it at the end, because yeah, I'm just gonna go a little higher just to be safe.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, that's funny. I'm doing something wrong. That's right. We're gonna come back to it. Because we got other stuff to do. So okay, now what we need to do is save. Thank you. Oh, by the way, you can tell that I'm working with a land-shaped terrain, because this little icon on the top right, it basically is just giving you some information. It's basically saying, here's how many faces you have, and just you have a land-shaped terrain. So if you don't see this little icon, you might just be working with a regular terrain, but we're going to work with a land-shaped terrain. Next thing I want to do is I want to add this. See this aerial image that I took the time to bring in? I want to put this aerial on the terrain. Now, normally I would explode the aerial. I would, I do think I need to explode the aerial. I would select it, drape it, project it. I would go into the group. It would be like a 3 or 4 step process. Here, all I have to do is come over here in Landshape. They've thought of this. They just called zone. So zone is basically like saying you can do color zones. I only have one color zone right now, and it's my aerial. And so, let's see here. Do I need to select it? I might need to select it. I think I have to select not the terrain. I think I have to select the material, and I say zone. And what it's going to do is it's just going to automatically just place that. And what's cool is, like Photoshop, you can stack 5 or 6 different materials and aerials and things, and you can select all of them and say zone. And what it's going to do, it's going to project all of them into one composite onto the terrain surface.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's pretty cool. So you can see already it's starting to come together. My road is a little. Sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say that Holygon mentioned to hold control for the splash plot.
Hold control. Okay, let's try that again.
But yeah, let's give it a go.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, you're right, because this is the thing when you're doing hold control. I'm on a Mac. Is that the same?
I think so. Or yeah.
I'm holding control. Yeah. Okay. I'm doing something wrong. So I'm not blaming them. It's so funny because I did this. Okay.
Nice. There you go.
Okay. There we go. And what's cool is that it also gives you tags. So for example, it's smart enough to put everything on tags. For example, when you splash, you get that water, and it just puts it on its own tag. So when you do color by tag, you very quickly get to see all this stuff. So I also want to come over here, and speaking of being able to see stuff, I really like this idea that you can view contours. So for example, normally what I do is I take TIG's contour maker and I split the site, and you can see how fast, sometimes it takes like 3 or 4 minutes if you're doing really tight contours, but here I'm doing 10-foot spacing. If I was to do 5-foot spacing, I would not do 5-foot spacing contours on a terrain this big on a live stream, because I promise you it may not work. But I'm going to go ahead and change it right now. Hold my breath. 5-foot contours. There it is. In fact, I probably would feel comfortable going to 1-foot contours, but we don't need to. It'd be too dense. But 5-foot contours on a terrain this size in a live stream is pretty nutty and pretty awesome. And again, those are on their own tags, so I can turn those on and off.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have a terrain mesh now that you can do anything with,
Yep.
but we have a road, we have an area for the building. What are you thinking is the next part of the process here now?
Yeah, so great, that's where we're going. So you can see this road here. You can see that there is a road, but because it came from the height map, it's a little janky. It's a little, you need an off-road truck with some good suspension to get up this road, which is not true, because if you look at the way the road would be designed and graded, this ought to be smooth. So that's going to be the next step, is we're going to smooth this out. So the first thing we need to do, or should I say the next thing we need to do, is we need a road center line, or we need something to be what's called a road control group that we're going to then use to tell the terrain how to form or reform this road. Now, I went ahead and did some research, and I was looking for like road center lines, and I couldn't exactly find one. I know sometimes this data is available, but I found a CAD file. Where is it? Okay, there it is there. Okay, you can't see it because of the, sometimes it helps. Okay, so this came in the wrong scale. So let's try that again. I think I want to bring this in as feet instead of inches. So for you, yeah. Okay, so what this is I found some GIS data. It's called tax lots. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tax lot data, and I'm just going to grab that. We're going to make a road center line. I wish I could find road center lines. Now, could I hand draw it? Yes, but it wouldn't necessarily mean that it's accurate because I would just be tracing the aerial image. So what I'm going to do, and again, this isn't 100% accurate, but I'm okay with that. We're just going to do our best. What we want to do is grab this, and I don't know why if this came in. It might have been a little bit rotated when I exported it from GIS. So I'm just going to fake this so it looks a little bit better. It lines up with the aerial. I don't need all this information. All I need here is in this tax lot, I just need my road. I need to make sure that it covers the extent of my terrain. So I'm going to copy this stuff. I'm going to get out of this, paste that in place. And for now, I'm going to hide. I'm just going to turn all this stuff off because right now, all I need to do is just get a road center line. Now I have a choice between which roads I want to show. I'm only going to do the main road here. So I'm just going to close these off, these other roads. I don't know if I'm nervous or if it really makes me comfortable to have like the Holygon guys on the call with me, because I really, they've actually done a great job sort of answering some of my questions, because I was like, this is what I want to do. I know what I want to do. What's the right way to do it? And I say right way because there's always,
There's a million ways to do it. Yeah.
There's always a million ways to do something, even with whether that's with Landshape or that's SketchUp or that's any other software.
Speaking of a million ways to do something, what's your approach for finding the center line of the road? Are you just going to offset, or what are you going to do?
I'm going to offset. What I'm doing is I'm just manually, which I don't like because I'd prefer to just have the road center line. Again, if I spent more time, or if I called the planning department, I could probably get the GIS data for the road center lines. It all depends on. The problem is this sits just literally like a mile outside of Portland, like boundary, like their data boundary. So I was looking for information, and it like literally sat just outside of where most of their data was.
Cool. Yeah, and to make you feel better, Holygon says, "No pressure, Eric. You are doing excellent."
I know. I know that there's no pressure from them. It's me. Okay. So we have this. We just need to figure out what we think the road width should be. Now, if a typical road is going to be 2 lanes, I mean, this it's maybe a little bit wider. You might think it's 24 feet. In this case, I might use something like, this might be 35 feet. I mean, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it here for this just to keep us running. So I'm just going to put what I think might be a center line. It's not, you can see it does not line up perfectly with the aerial. Maybe that's because of the way the aerial was projected. Sometimes the orthographics aren't, true. I'm just going to give myself something close that I think we can work with. So I'm not even going to worry about where I'm offsetting that. Again, I could hand trace this if I wanted to.
No, but it's looking pretty spot on.
Yeah, so we want this road, and it's okay if it goes out, if the road goes outside, because there's going to be a shoulder. Do you know what I mean? So, okay. All right, we're just going to work with that. So one thing we want to do is we want to make sure that the road center line extends beyond the terrain. And what I mean by that is that, for example, if this is my terrain group here, and then I have my road information, I'm just going to go ahead and pull that out past that just a little bit. So I'm working with something a little bit larger than what I actually need. And I'm going to pull this up above just so we can see that. So that's our road center line. And we're going to now, out of good habit, we're going to not make a road first. We're going to check our road settings. Actually, we're not going to make a road setting. We're gonna hold on to this. First thing we want to do is we have this opportunity to remesh. For example, where we're going to do some grading, we might want more information. I did 12-foot resolution for the whole terrain because it's a pretty big area and I wanted to keep my polygon count manageable. But where I'm going to be grading, I actually want more vertices. I want more denser mesh. So let's do that.
Cool.
Let's
It's nice
remesh.
that you're able to select how dense the mesh is for each, region of the model. That's really cool.
Yes. So if I come over here and grab what's just called a mesh brush, and there's some settings, you could see resolution down at the bottom in the VFB, 6 foot, and size 50 foot. And that's fine. 50 foot's more than we need. That's okay. 6 foot means we're going to put twice as many vertices as there are in the surrounding context. So I'm going to kind of roughly follow. I don't need to follow what I think is going to be the extent of our grading, including this little podium platform here, because I know we're going to grade that next. Right now we're just starting with the road. And if I have to stop and start, I can do that. Do you notice what's happening though? In real time, like look at the density. Do you see that, Justin?
Yeah.
The mesh is doubling in density. And again, I can come in here and spot add detail to anywhere that I know that I'm going to be working. And then there it is. So if I turn off my X-ray and if I turn on just, maybe it's easier to do it this way. I'll turn on you can see here that it's twice as dense.
Cool.
So now, let's see here. Now I can come over here and say, and you'll notice I'm actually not even that worried about saving. And let me tell you why, is that Landshape is not the same as the other tools, like using sandbox tools, where if you do something like a really big, heavy, complex CAD drape, you might get a bug splat or a crash. But here, if I select my terrain, if I go into my terrain, notice that it's actually made of a bunch of pieces. So when I'm working on something, I'm actually only working on a piece of the terrain, not calculating the whole thing. And that's what keeps it really, really, really efficient. Like, for example, I could remesh this entire road, and I didn't even get a spinning beach ball.
Yeah.
And I'm about to grade a road onto it, and I'm not even going to get a spinning beach ball. And that's really cool. And so what that means is, because this terrain is broken up into pieces, we are never directly editing the terrain. We are always editing what's called a control group. We're always going to take information outside of the terrain, and we're going to send it to the terrain. We're going to say, you go there now. So we never actually go in and use push-pull, or we never go close faces, or we never actually touch the terrain. I think that's pretty innovative. We're going to find Landshape, and there's a tool called Road. And I already checked my road settings. No, I didn't check my road settings. We're going to check them first. So Landshape, Road. And under that, you can see that down at the bottom, it's saying the width of the road is 24, the width of the road is 24, the shoulder is 24, and the resolution is 12. But we just went through and made that effort to add resolution. So why would we regrade it at our default 12? Let's go back and say 24 foot. Let's give ourselves a shoulder. Let's make this 35 foot, and then let's give ourselves 6 foot. So give us that more detail. We're going to hit enter or return, and then we're going to pick this center line. It says pick or click and drag to select the inputs. I might have to drag. Let's see. How do I? Let's try it this way. Let's try selecting it first. I might have done something wrong. Okay, so I select this, and I say extension, Landshape. Okay, what am I doing, guys? And I say road. Oh, I know why. Okay, so I did that. That's my fault. You can't project loose geometry. You have to take your loose geometry and you have to make it a group first. It's just totally easy thing to forget.
Yeah, you're on it. Holygon just chimed in with that, so kudos to you for figuring that out.
Yes, thank you, Holygon, guys, for helping me there, because that is easy to forget for me. Because sometimes I work on loose geometry. A lot of times I work with loose geometry. So now that it's a group, you can see what it's doing. It's saying, yeah, pick it. So I'm going to click enter, return. Actually, I'm going to zoom in because I want you to see this happen in real time. There it is. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh, I know. It's so satisfying.
Yeah.
I could just do a whole YouTube channel where I just grade stuff. I just like watch how easy it is to grade this really complex retaining wall. This is something that it would take me hours and hours. There it is. Right there. Look how smooth that is. If I turn off my hidden geometry, you can see I've got this perfectly smooth road. If I've got this new control group here. So this is basically the road, and that's the dimensions that I gave it. That's 24 feet across. And then what I can do is if I really wanted to, I could come over here and I could also just put those edges down onto the terrain. So I'm just like the drape tool. We don't need that anymore. We've got our supercharged version. I'm going to drape that down onto the terrain.
And so I guess in this instance, the road is perfectly flat. But if you wanted to, and we don't have to, dive into this. Oh, I guess no, it's
not flat. It follows the grade. What it is
Wow.
that it's the road itself is flat because you can see here, because that's the way it would be graded. In real life, it would go up the slope, but it would be flat. Now, it wouldn't necessarily be flat. It would be sloped to drain. It would be 2 to 3%. So it would be crowned 2%. But for the sake of our model, we do not crown, a road like this.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. Okay, let's keep moving on because I want to get this, see if we can do this in the next 20 minutes or so. What I need to do is create the platform. So, okay. So this is our control group. It shows up on its own tag, so we don't really need that. I'm going to create a new tag. I'm just going to call this freeze. I keep a general freeze tag. It's all this. And shout out to Tyson because it's Tyson's boneyard. He moves stuff off to the side, and I put it on like I don't know if I'm going to need this later tag. What I want to do is create a bounding perimeter on my terrain that says I'm going to regrade. I need to regrade this podium because right now this podium, and I'm calling it a podium because it's more like a plinth. It's this. Here, let's just really quickly. Let's just look at it. I think that'll help. So if you notice when you come down into the site, you're sitting on this. You can see this thing sits flat. It's like this little like roundabout, and then like this teardrop shape. And then what it does is it drops down and around, and then what you get is because of that you get a retaining wall. So you get this grade change as the road goes down the hill, and then you get this. You can see the retaining wall is getting bigger as you round the podium. So now this would be a really complex thing to do. If you think about it, there's a lot of factors. We've got a road, we have a flat podium, we have a sloped road, we have a sloped retaining wall that changes grade as it follows the road, right? That's a complex thing to do, and we're going to do it in like, I'm going to say 15 minutes. Let's see if we can do it. I should not.
This is why I was hyping
do not put a time. Don't put a timer on it, FYI, because that's probably a bad idea.
In 15 minutes. This is why I was hyping you up as one of the world's best modelers. I mean, this would take me days, weeks.
Yeah, but but the problem is I'm standing on the shoulders of giants with these Holygon guys. So anyway, but okay, so we're gonna do is we're gonna draw on the terrain. We're gonna literally draw on the surface for what is going to be a zone, an area of work, a limit of work. Let's just call it that. So I can either drag and draw, or I can just click and I can just have more like a boxy perimeter. And I'm just going to click, and I'm just going to kind of generally follow the road and the sort of podium. I'm calling it a podium. Maybe that's not the right term. And you can see here, if I were to lift this up, you can see that when I drew that, it there is a tool. I don't know if I need to do this, but let me see if this works. Fit. I think that helps it a little bit. Okay, so you can see this perimeter that I just drew. You can see that when I drew it, I was drawing straight on the terrain, and I think that's pretty sweet. So this perimeter now is what I need to do what's called a grade group. So a grade group basically means that anything I grade is going to happen inside of this perimeter. So it's not going to grade stuff outside of it. That's why I called it a limit of work, because that's how I think of when you're working on something. have you ever done, I know you're, Justin, you're a talented modeler. What is your experience with like terrain and grading?
Strictly sandbox and strictly saving every time I do anything and just, crossing my fingers and hoping for the best. But I know that landscape is your expertise among many other things. And so, yeah, this is exciting to watch. I can't believe how easy this feels.
I know. And I swear it was confusing at first because, but it's anything. It's like learning a new language. It's like, oh, you want me to speak Spanish? Okay, well, I don't know what, zapatos means, it's shoes. But like, I have to
Yeah.
learn that. And then it's like the terminology. I need to learn what zone, splash, fit, grade, draw. I need to know what those mean. And once I know what they mean, it's like, oh, it's really, really easy. It's really intuitive. So you can see I
Yeah.
went a little bit short there. What I was doing is I need to grab the road because the road is going to be part of this grade. So I'm going to grab what I hope is, I'm just going to go into the road geometry, and then I'm going to go into this grade group, and I'm going to paste this in place. And the reason why is because I need to, anything within this grade group is going to get regraded. So I need to place the things that I want regraded inside of this. And okay, what I also need is I need new geometry. I need new geometry for this podium. I need some sort of perimeter that says this is what I'm going to draw. So for this, I'm going to grab a different image really quick. I was able to find a different aerial, and I'm going to use that same 45 feet because I think that's going to give us, because I think that's how big the building is. I did not find in my research if like that's true or not, but that's the number I'm using. And so what I'm going to do is, what I need to do is draw this zone here. And it's going to be basically where the retaining wall starts. And this image cuts it off, but that's okay. I can either look at the other image to see where it ends, or I can just fake it and say that's good enough. I'll stop it there. But I'm basically going to follow, this. I'm going to follow this retaining wall. And again, I'm being pretty loosey-goosey here, because this is not like, we're not going to be building off of this or anything like that.
Yeah. We're shooting from the hip a little bit here, but I mean, this is already amazingly accurate, I think.
So I don't know where the center line is for this, so I might actually just use an arc, a 2-point arc instead of the circle. And again, if it's off by a foot, I think this is what we call, what do you call that? Margin of error,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'm okay. Like if this is, the other thing too is it may be the aerial image that's off, so I'm gonna accept that as a.
Is there like an ideal number of segments that you're looking for in these arcs? Like I'm sure that you don't want it to be too minimal.
I'm using 60 because it can be divided easily by 3. It's part of, like, if you think of a circle being 360 degrees. If you do 24, it's probably too low. If you do more than 60, you probably, like, I'll give you an example. Let me extrude this really quick. And then I'll just turn my hidden geometry. You can see that it's made up of 60 facets.
Yeah.
Which to me is not too big of a polygon. If I were to turn, this looks like a smooth arc to me. If I do less than that, I think I'm going to start to see that. If I do more than that, I don't think you're going to get any, you're going to use up your polygon budget,
Yep.
Yeah. So I know different people have different preferences, so you guys can call me out.
No, I think that's the measured approach. I am a maximalist through and through, and so I'm like, infinite amount of segments, but that's, a personal issue I'm working on.
Oh wait, so what would you do?
I guess 60 is fine. Yeah. I mean, you're looking for something smooth, and I feel like that's pretty smooth.
So you can see why I redrew it on that other aerial, this larger aerial, because of SketchUp's maximum texture size limits. I had to bring in sort of a more detailed aerial to do my detailed tracing, because I would have a hard time seeing like where that retaining wall stops and starts on this. So that's okay. I do want to, I'm just going to explode that. I don't need it as a group right now. Yeah, I am going to use this to kind of, I'm going to go outside of, and this is where I may actually rely on those Holygon guys, because this is where it's like, this is where I think this might be like the trickier part of it. What I'm doing is I'm combining three things. I'm combining the road geometry, the grading perimeter, the extent of where I want to grade, and then I'm bringing in what is essentially the parking. I'm calling this the parking area podium. So I don't know if that's right. I'm going to just make this up. Okay, so if I take that and copy it, so I'm basically going in and putting all of these things into this grade group here. Where is my road? There it is. Oh, I can't see it because I have this geometry on, this geometry. What tag does that come in on? It comes in on untagged. I'm going to move that to my terrain. I'm just going to move it into my terrain tag. I hope that doesn't screw anything up, or either that I should just hide it temporarily. So you can see what I have here is I have, so there's a question for Holygon. Does it matter if my road extends? I want it to be outside. It's got to be inside of this perimeter. I think I need a closed boundary. I think I need to be shy of our perimeter. So I need to just kind of close this off. So if I close this road off, and then I come up the slope, close this off, and I'm just going to go like this way. I think I can get rid of all of this stuff outside of. Oops, that didn't connect. This is where it's like on a live stream where I wish I was better at telling jokes, because it's like this is where it gets like a little dry, because it's like, okay, I got to clean up this line work. I got to make sure all these are closed. I got to make sure that I connected this edge, which I don't think I did, because I snapped to something else. Maybe turn off length snapping in my model info. Okay. Cool. I think that looks good. So I have all the information that I think I need. My grade perimeter, it says don't grade outside of this. And then I have my parking top of surface, my plinth or podium, and then I have my road that I've already graded, but I'm using that to basically say, don't grade outside of this. The only difference is I think we need to do is I need to take this here, and I think I need to embed this into the terrain. And what it'll do is if I embed it, it'll give me if I embed this, it basically creates what's called a fence. It basically is a information in the terrain that we're kind of communicating. It's like how we communicate with the terrain. That's why it's a smart terrain. So what I'm gonna do is come over here and I wanna go landscape, and I'm gonna embed fence. So that way I get like a really sharp edge and not like a rounded like edge. So hopefully that's correct. And I could view my fences. I think I can view my fences by just turning off, by turning view, and then you can say view fence. So here I've got, oh, that didn't show up though. So that means maybe I didn't fence that correct.
Okay.
So I need to ask, I'm going to weld this together. Oh, maybe it needs to be a group. Does it have to be a group? Maybe it needs to be a group, because a lot of things need to be grouped. So let me copy that. I'm going to paste that in place. I'm going to group it, and then I'm going to come over here and see if that works. And then if I'm wrong, maybe those guys will correct me. Embed fence. It's getting late over there in Sweden, so they may not be. They may not still be following along. Okay, I think we're going to try it without it and see if that works. So you can see here by looking at this, I'm going to turn my fence off. turn fence off. Nope, not that.
Does the fence shape need to be completely closed?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. Let me turn the fence off. Okay, we're gonna try it. We're gonna see what happens, and if we need to fix it, we can. So this is where I want to actually run the grade command. I did that pre-work, was just to give myself the information that I need to build this retaining wall. So that was all just pre-work, and it was a little bit cumbersome, but that's part of the process. It's grading. And now what I should be able to do is just grade.
Nice.
And you can see, can you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to undo that. Let me do it again. Oh, so that's what the embed fence does. You can see how I've got this kind of little chunky edge here. And when it's a fence, it basically cleans that up. So I do want to see if I can get that to work. So if those guys are still there. I tried that. Embed fence. Oh, it may need to be. I'm going to try closing off the perimeter and see if that does anything. I don't know. Where did my information go? I don't think that's it. Landshape, main, embed fence. Oh, landshape. It's okay. It's really
Holygon
close.
says untag the edges.
Untag. Are they? Oh, are they tagged tag slot? Because I copied them from my tag slot. That would be okay. So I should be able to do that. And it's raw geometry. I can use raw geometry.
Yeah, they say you should have all raw edges untagged.
Okay, so let's try that. Yeah, this is important. And I don't want to skip that step because I don't want you to think that it can't do this, because it can. So I should be able to view, if I did it right, I would be able to see that this line, this upper boundary would become a fence. And it would be, yeah, I mean, I hate when I am just learning something and I don't do it right.
I feel like you have to give yourself some grace here. I feel like everybody in the chat is as mind blown as I am. But Holygon says raw edges should work fine, but also you can try the standard embed.
Okay, well, we're just going to do that then, and then we're going to move on because I said 15 minutes, and I think we're getting close to that time. Okay, so we're just going to grade this. Yeah, it's okay because we're going to put a retaining wall right there. So we're going to put like an actual wall there. Yeah, and we can also smooth it out too. We also have a smooth brush where we can smooth that out. Although it does need a fence if you're going to do it properly. So we can come back to it because that's a nice thing about this. Okay, so the nice thing about what we're doing is that this is editable. We're not stuck and locked into this point in time. We can always come in and regrade something at any point in time. So where is my, I think I have to redrape my road. I think I lost that. I do want that road. Okay, so this is where we're going to add some color to this, because if you look at this here, you can see I'm still using the aerial. So if we want to use this grade group, we can come over here and we can what's called smash this. Sometimes I have a hard time selecting just the lines and not the terrain. Oh. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hide this. That way I can do this. And what we can do is we're going to smash this. What it does is it flattens. I think we need to make a copy of it.
Yeah, throw that on the Tyson tag.
It's a bit like what Enroth does. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. Okay, so It's a bit like NROT does. It's basically flattened to plane. It takes all that grading geometry and it flattens it. And then that way you can come up here and you can make a face. And from there, you could come in and I don't need this. I don't need this outer perimeter. I just want this inside group. Did I not have a closed bound? It could be that I didn't have a closed perimeter if I did. Okay, so what I want to do is, we're going to paint this. We're going to just do some painting really quick. We're going to do a road. We're going to do a wall. I'm going to use the same road color here. So now I've got all this stuff here where, remember how I talked about how we can project textures and stuff down onto the terrain?
Yeah.
Well, I can just basically take all of these textures. In fact, if I wanted a little bit more detail, this is actually kind of cool. I tried this, I was playing around. If I come over here and grab this, the same image that we kind of used as our tracing boundary, we can actually come over here and say, let's see, where do I want to go? Line this up as close as I can. Yeah, it's hard when you're doing a new thing and then you're like, oh, okay. So what we could do is we could take this image too, make sure it's a texture. And then what we could do is take all of these things here and say, take that, and I want to say, I want to zone those. I want to project those all down onto the surface. So now you can see I've got, I have those colors. And that edge is, I'm mad at myself. Sorry, Holygon. You guys showed me how to do this. And I know it's possible and easy, but I'm not getting this fence. So I'm not getting that clean edge. And I'm going to cover it with a wall, but I know that that's possible because I've done it. But it's cool because now I have a high resolution aerial where I need it. And I've got the retaining wall and I've got this, this little podium area here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on, let's turn on, my contours. And then we're going to pause. We're going to pause on the terrain just for a minute. And I'm going to turn on my water. So, dude, can I just pause for a second?
This is mind blowing. I was about to say, like, the ease at which you've been manipulating this terrain is just, I feel like, yeah, it's worth mentioning.
So
it's crazy.
Okay. So in I know I bantered for a little bit in the beginning, but in about 45 minutes, less than an hour, we brought in existing terrain, accurate, got it height and scaled accurately with a lot of information. We rebuilt it so that it's a smart terrain, which is a land-shaped terrain. We added water, we added a skirt, we added contours, graded a road, graded the plinth, not perfectly, I know I messed one of the steps up, and added materials. And of course, all of that's tagged. And we were able to do that in less than an hour. Remember, I'm just fumbling. I'm fumbling because I've just learned it this week.
Yeah, well, Monsieur Nab says, relax, Eric. It's been 50 minutes. Look at what you've achieved with a brand new tool you're just discovering. So I think that people recognize.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. The one thing I want to point out too with the contours, because I love me some contours. Do you notice when I returned those contours on? I don't know if you noticed that. Did you see how they match the proposed grade?
Yeah, that's incredible.
So when I say proposed, because like for example, if you're using this in a project, you would have the existing and then you would propose. But when you regen, when you turn the contours on and off, it basically rebuilds the contours. So now your contours are always going to be real time. For example, when we first did the contours, we did not get the clean contour that where see how the contour goes straight across the road perpendicular?
Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct grading. And you can see that even better in plan view. if you were to look at this, let me see. I think I'm going to turn off my control. I'm going to turn off my grade group for 1 second. Select all those. I'm just going to hide that. I don't think I need that for right now. And I'm going to add a scene really quick, just in case I want to come back to this plan view.
Cool.
So you can see, you can follow the road. Look at the road. I mean, look how clean the road geometry looks. And it's correct. It's accurate. And it's real time. I can edit this. If I want to move this road, for example, and bring it into the slope and cut into the slope, for maybe this road needs to widen for some reason or create like a parking space, we can just say, hey, regen this road, and then regen these contours.
Yeah,
so
it's incredible. You have people in the chat reminding you to save first and foremost, but then also Holygon did write out some instructions if you want to try the grading, but if you want to move on, then we can do that too.
Let's try it. Hopefully that saves in the chat. I just want to reiterate that when we were testing it, it works. So it's totally on me. And if we can fix it, if we can fix it before the end of the chat, that would be great, or before the end of the stream. And if not, you'll just have to trust me. Okay. Speaking of trust me, where are we going? Where do you want to go next?
Yeah,
boy, I graded so fast. We have time to build a building.
I know. A whole 50 minutes or an hour.
We have an hour to build a building and bring it in and merge and bring it into the site, so that they are now acting as one project instead of two separate projects.
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize how much you've done in just an hour. This is pretty insane. We have a landscape, we have a graded road, and now we're going to get into some architecture. I mean, this is incredible.
Okay, here's the thing. Okay, let me save this though. I just started a new file, so let me actually save. Let me save this to house. I'm doing it in a separate file just to be smart. I'm going to call this Vista architecture. So I found this image online. It's an elevation, which is perfect. Now, if you look at this is why I want to do historic architecture, because if you look at this, all I need to draw is this. Because, for example, this is an octagon. And with the power of components, we can mirror and array, and then we will have a house just as quick, in less time than it took us to build the existing site with the proposed grades laid on top of it, the proper grades. So what we're going to do is, I was just going to mark. Now here's the thing. So speaking of time, normally what I would do is I would come in here and I would start tracing. I would just literally go up, okay, and I would come over and do that, and you guys get the idea. You guys have seen me do this.
You've already done some work, which is great because it's saving me from having to do a stand-up comedy routine while you're tracing.
Yeah, well, I don't want to take away that from you. if that's something I could just work quietly if you want to, if you do have any good jokes. Okay, I did kind of cheat a little bit, and I said cheat by just doing some pre-work. Is that what I did was I kind of just pre-drafted. So I'm bringing in a CAD file. It's just a projection of some line work that I already drew, and I saved it as CAD just because it's a little bit more flexible because it's 2D, so an inspector. So the nice thing about CAD is it can go anywhere rather than just saving it as a SketchUp model, but it was drafted in SketchUp. So there it is there. I may have to rescale my image because I was just kind of eyeballing the scale. So let's see here. If I might manually just scale this. I mean, it's not that important. We're riffing today.
We're riffing. Yeah.
We're riffing. Yeah. That's what I say when Okay. So is it perfect? No, but that's okay. Actually, because I already traced it. So actually we don't even really need the image. I think the image is just kind of helpful because what it's going to do is it's going to help us kind of see, well, what maybe is coming forward and what maybe is going backwards. And maybe where does something turn a corner? So the image is really at this point not as important because we've already done sort of the drawing work. I will come back here just briefly, just to remind everybody what we're trying to do. So this is really what we're doing. Let me find a good shot of that. There, that's probably good enough. And so what we're going to do is you can just kind of get a quick look at, like, okay, so these corners come out, it's battered. We've got some interesting things with stonework. We've got some, I know that maybe there's not doors on all sides, but to make this a little bit more efficient, I'm just going to use one side and just array it. So it's going to be slightly different than it would be built. And then we're going to move up to a second floor, which is similar in design, but not in scale. So we can't just copy, we can't just make a one-for-one copy. And then we'll do a little roof. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to do this. I don't know if this is the best way to do this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this 2 ways. Let's see. No, do I need to do this 2 ways? I don't think I need to do this 2 ways. I think I just need to do this 1 way. I think I'll just do this once. Because sometimes what I'll do is I'll draw flat, and then because it's easier to go to plan view, but in this case, it's gonna, if I make a component out of something, it's gonna make for a weird component axis. So in this case, it's probably better to draw in elevation. Oh, he's big because I scaled the whole model and I didn't group this first. So if I delete this, my friend, and if I put him back, he should be, in case you guys were worried that the building was too small. What is this, a building for ants? Right.
So is your approach here to essentially trade, or to start, push pulling geometry, or are you going to set up the component first and like array it around?
Hang on, let me just paste this. Let me just, I was just bringing this image in, so I have a plan view reference as well. Sorry, ask that again.
I was just curious if you're going to just start, push pulling geometry here, or if you think it makes sense to like set up the component and array it around an octagon first.
I'm going to draw one side first, and I'm going to tell you why. Is because sometimes it can get tricky. Like, for example, if you move something, like if it's an octagon, those corners have to hit exact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw basically the bounding box of the pie slice, the pie wedge, pizza slice, whatever you want to call it. So I know that that's the area that I have to stay within, because otherwise when you do the array later, like if you arrayed everything first and then you move something, things could get out of whack. So it's sort of like the answer is both. I'm going to give myself like a box to stay within, and then what I'm going to do is start pushing, pulling, and then I'm going to do the array last. Does that make sense?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, so let's bring these guys up, because there is a staircase and it is 4 feet. So I'm going to bring this whole thing up 4 feet. And I'm going to do 2 scenes. I'm going to do one scene here where I turn this off. And I'm going to update this. And this is just so we can see how it's beginning to build out in 3D. I'm going to call this view. And then I'm going to undo that, unhide that, hide this. And then I'm going to set this to what I'm calling, oh, I don't know if I need that. Oh, okay. I don't know if I need a different style for that, but it's okay. And what we're just going to do is we're just going to call this, I'm going to call this trace, because this is when I was like, if I was tracing it, but really this is more like a working view. This is where we're just going to do, just so we can kind of see it up against the elevation. Oh, that didn't work, right? Let's see, what would be easier? Probably to flip. I think it's probably easier to flip the front faces and then flip them all than it is to do it the other way around. Would you agree?
Yeah. Whatever there's less of,
Exactly. And then you select them all and then you go the opposite way. So we're all working with front faces. This is me. This is some bad This is some bad drafting. I think that was a component that was just copied. And so you can see that those edges from that component group carried through into the CAD. So if you get sloppy drafting, it's going to cause some problems.
Couple seconds of cleanup there and you're good to go.
Yeah, and then also here, why is this? Okay. Here, I think, yeah, there's something giving me a hard time, and it's a stray. Sometimes on the arcs, you guys know this, like when you convert, when you're working with arcs, you know, and they segment, sometimes they can create either an overlap or a gap, depending on how you drew it or what your purpose, what your goal is. That's it. That's it.
Cool.
Now, obviously, I just skipped 20 minutes of tracing. I hope everyone is okay with that, because that's not the most interesting part of this process. Let's start extruding. I'm going to go. No, I don't know. Now I'm making this stuff. I'm making all these dimensions up because I don't know. The reality is I just have this elevation, so I just have to look at it and just say, yeah, that feels right.
Yeah, interpretive modeling.
Yeah, like interpretive dance. I do that on the weekends.
Sweet.
I don't. But
hey,
good.
Yeah, if you can fit it into your schedule, why not?
Yeah. So this is actually a little bit better than watching me trace, but it's still a little bit repetitive. So if there are if you guys have any announcements or you got any cool jokes or anything, I would say this part is going to take. It's just watching. I'm just push pulling stuff. So
yeah, and it is incredibly soothing to watch, but yeah, do you feel like talking a little bit while you're push pulling? Do you want to tell us a little bit about the kind of ethos behind your new YouTube channel that you're starting up?
Yeah. So thanks for that. That was a good segue.
I'll drop a link in the chat here once again, folks. Remember to subscribe. But yeah, I'm curious.
So I'm calling it urban story for a reason. It's because I have three passions. I have a lot, but I have three. They fall into three buckets, which is I do have to pause. Maybe I should pause for this part, and then I can go just so I say it right. But like I like design, which is urban design. So it's the built environment. So how do we make the best built environment possible? And what principles, whether they're traditional or new, are we using for them? And then of course, so that's the first bucket. And then there's tools and technology. I would put that into the same bucket because, you know what I mean? Like not only our design now, like with SketchUp, like a lot of our designs and our design process is informed by the tools that we use. But more than anything, I think that we have this great need and this great opportunity to tell really compelling stories about design, about how to make design better, how to solve problems. For example, if you are a designer with a great understanding of what needs to be done, you have a great confidence in your own skill set, you have a great tool set to deploy, then there is very little that you can't do. And when you want to propose to do something that maybe is traditional or unpopular, or something that is innovative and new and untested, I think understanding, being able to communicate why you're doing what you're doing, and then being able to translate it in a way that someone who does not speak your design language can understand is extremely important skill set. And so urban story combines, and then the third bucket is training, and that's where the YouTube comes in, which is what I like to do is I like to take some of the things that I've learned and some of the things like Landshape, for example, that I'm learning, and I like to share those with other people. And so urban story takes those three things and puts them together. Design and design tools, that's one bucket. So visual storytelling, how we communicate design ideas. And then the third one is doing it in a setting that transmits the information that I can share with others. So, cool. So yeah, that's the channel. We're going to pick topics. We're going to do deep dives on. We're going to do breakdowns for projects, things like traditional principles. We're going to look at project examples, why they work, why they don't. And then, of course, we're going to use tools like SketchUp to do these really, hopefully a really interesting way to communicate that message.
Yeah, no, it sounds fascinating.
Oh, sorry, I messed up. See, when I'm talking, there we go. Okay, I need to do this first before yeah, so urban story. Now, not to be mixed up with urban legend, because if you look up what an urban legend is, it's very different than an urban story. A story is something we tell about a place to inspire people, whereas an urban legend is a myth, something that usually ghost stories. So don't look that up. It's not going to help you. Tools. I'm trying to follow me this.
Do you need to weld it first?
Yes, you can see I have this tiny little gap here somewhere in my line, somewhere my arc wasn't. I probably should have welded this before I pushed that out. So that wasn't, yeah, that should just be a nice clean. Follow me bugs me because sometimes it gives you that little gap. So what I had to undo is because I needed to do that follow me first, then I needed to bring this up so I get it at an angle.
Now, just a bunch of double clicking. Yeah, Keggy says wise words from Mr. Sargeant as always. But yeah, I think we're all just excited to subscribe and see the stories that you're going to tell. Yeah, always love learning SketchUp things from you, but also love hearing you, talk about things that you're passionate about. I feel like your passion always is extremely evident and always shines through. So yeah, I think it's going to be an amazing channel.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys and just support. Just try things. We're gonna. Just try things and see. And I'm gonna save this. And yeah, I mean, SketchUp's such a great tool for what we're doing. Like we're doing it right now. I mean, we're telling a story about a place. We're bringing it to life in 3D in real time with an audience. And in there, we can talk about the fact that this house that we're modeling, it's not a house, it's called a house. It's a road stop. It was done during it was built during World War I as a way for early motorists to stop and rest as they go and explore the amazing Columbia River Gorge. And it was very expensive. It cost about $100,000 in the money in the 1912, 1914 dollars, and they thought that was way too much money for a rest stop. But now look at it again. Now we have this amazing experience and this amazing, this kind of amazing structure that's going to be hopefully there for a much longer time. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
No, that's amazing. Built in 1918.
18. Okay. Yeah, I know that it took years, so I don't know when they started, but when they finished, 1918.
Yeah, it looks like about 2 years. But what a place to build this. I mean, yeah, the River Gorge is just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I know SketchUp's got some Oregon people out there, so they probably are familiar with. They're probably familiar with it. Okay, so this one here, I didn't copy that. I have to heal that back up. So pro tip, when you're mirroring something, it's easy to just offset this to make this window and say offset this one inch. But then when you mirror the whole thing, all of a sudden you realize that middle mullion, that vertical or that divider, that pane divider, now is twice as thick. So to go in and offset it, and then remember that you have to go in and have that because you're going to mirror this thing. That sort of gets me. Okay, so we're almost done with our push pulling, just maybe a few more minutes. And then we get to start constructing this thing. So I could grab both of these. If I was smart, like Aaron, I could pull both. I love watching Aaron because he's just a smart modeler with keyboard shortcuts and things like that. Like selecting more than one thing at once, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so. And Justin, have you live streamed yet or no? Are you going to?
I go back and
I mean
forth
to
on it.
put you on the spot there.
No, you're good. Yeah, I go back and forth on it. Part of me is like, I should probably do it, but the other part of me is like too big of an introvert to ever do that type of thing. My hesitation is that I'm still very much at the early stages of figuring out the 3D mouse, and so I feel like orbiting around feels kind of, like you're experiencing, you know, just a very jarring experience, and so it's not going to be as smooth as Aaron's stream, so I'm a little hesitant, but maybe one day.
Yeah, and that's something that I have to just apologize for and just say, hey, sorry guys, we're gonna do some a little bit of panning and zooming. I try
Yeah,
to keep it under control, but obviously sometimes you're just in it, and you're just like, oh yeah, I was just going fast and loose.
yeah. I'm kind of surprised actually that you don't use the 3D mouse. I guess I wasn't thinking about that, but yeah, I mean, at least you use a mouse. I mean, I'm just using a trackpad when I model, so that's, I have a
Oh,
long way to go.
get out of here. How do you do all that stuff with just a trackpad? That's nutty.
I don't know.
I was gonna say that's oh, okay, so I made a mistake. I pushed pull, but I copied this because you can't really draw depth. This is why SketchUp is so much better than CAD in so many ways. Is because now I have to figure out the best way. I might just, I do is it bugs it bugs Aaron and Tyson. I model in ortho
Oh yeah,
because often what I'll do if I need to see something instead of spinning, I'll just turn X-ray on.
yeah,
And I'll just stay in ortho, because what I find is that zooming can sometimes be really jerky and when you're
yeah.
using perspective mode, and so I'd rather almost just stay in ortho. And I know that maybe bugs some people, so sorry.
Eh, I don't know. I love the isometric view. I feel like it's a very nostalgic thing for me. Growing up playing Roller Coaster Tycoon, so I feel like I model in it frequently. Sometimes a bummer for me to switch back to perspective.
Now I got to make a decision here. I got to decide whether or not these windows. Now, hang on real quick. I'm not modeling. I'm not really giving this depth because I'm kind of thinking this is like a bit like a stage set. It has no thickness really in the walls, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to leave these windows as is. I can't see very well whether they go all the way down to the floor, but given the fact that you're not going to see them from the ground, I'm just going to leave them as windows, and I'm just going to pretend that this is just stone. So. All right, let's do this. I said I was going to draw the bounding box before I did that, and I didn't, so we're going to just have to switch gears really quick. What I want to do is, in order to make this sure that this is perfect, I'm going to take this line, and I know that I'm going to mirror this. So I don't know what this dimension is. If I checked this line, it should be somewhere around 16, 17 feet, because and it's 17 and a half. So I'm just going to roll with that. I think that's going to work fine for what we're doing here. Whoops. What did I do? Oh, okay. So what I want to do is I want to take that line. Now I know that I could use the polygon. Everyone's like, you can use the polygon tool, Eric. You don't need to manually do this. But I'm going to manually do it because I want to make sure that everything is hitting exactly where I want it. So this would be 90. What is 90 plus 45? 135. Yes. Okay. So what I'm just doing is I'm just taking this and I'm just going to make sure that I have that same line, and I'm just going to do half of it, and then I'm going to mirror it. That's 45. And then same thing, I'm just going to copy this. I'm not going to draw it because it's kind of an odd number. I'm not going to redraw it because it's not an even number when I started my model. So what I want to do is I'm just going to copy that, 45. And then I'm just going to do one more. I'm just going to grab this. So bear with me. We're going to do this, folks. We're going to do this.
Oh yeah, this is going to be so satisfying to watch this array around.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Sorry, I didn't do this for you guys watching at home. I forgot to do this. Sometimes it helps to bump my profiles up, or sometimes it helps to like change the line color a little bit. So like when you're doing like just a lot of tracing. Maybe it shows up on your screen a little bit better, but okay. So we're going to select that, and we're going to go Tools, Mirror. Oh wait, it's called Flip, isn't it? Hold,
That's right.
use hold modifier, and lock it into place right there at my midpoint. And there it is. Okay. So now I have my okay. Save. So I'm going to do this here. I'm just going to kind of cut this up into slices. I'm just going to go across, across, across. Now it does two things. It gives me my midpoint, which I know, which I want. And then it's also going to give me, it's going to tell me where my pie slice is, where each one. So each one of this here is going to be my component. So I'm going to drag this right down, and I'm going to pull this right down. This is where I need this. This is where if I did this at 16 feet, I could do this at 8, but I didn't. Now I have to do some math. Okay. So this one here needs to line up exactly with this line. So I'm going to probably pull this back. I'm going to separate this from the group just temporarily. And then I'm going to take this here, and I need to just pull this back a little past 8 feet, because what I need it to do is I need this, whoops. I need this to hit right there. And I'm using an odd number, and I shouldn't have done that. That's shame on me. So that's what we're going to do. And what's nice about that is it now tells me where my floor is. That's my floor to my upper level. So I'm going to grab that and bring that up. If I want to give that a thickness, I can do that now. Call it 1 foot. Maybe make that, whoops, don't need that anymore, I don't think. Maybe make that a group. So I've got this and this and this. This is where, well, why is there something out here? There shouldn't be anything out there. There it is. Okay, had a straight line. So this is where we can start to make this, think about making this a component. I'm going to make this a component. Just going to call this, I don't care about naming it. This is where it's going to start to come together. We're going to Tools, Flip. You just get to hear me say everything out loud to myself.
This is going to be so satisfying.
I know, this is the best part. You do all this work. I'm going to make that a component. So now I have the one side's a component, and then both sides are a component. So now I've got a component within a component. Now, because I know my center point, I can just grab this plus sign it. I don't even need to know. I just trust my math. 45 times 7. And then there's an ah moment there.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So this is why I say, like, I always say work smart, not hard. We pre-think some stuff. Yeah, we spend an hour playing around, but what we might have saved ourselves is 6 modeling or something like that. It depends on the complexity of the project. I need to do 3 things. The fourth one optional, and I'll let you guys vote on the chat whether we do it, because it'll take a few minutes and it's not essential. Number 1, we need to erase this seam, so we're going to hide it. There is an extension for it. Haven't used it. I'm just going to do it manually for now because I don't want to go in and install an extension. We need to build the stairs. It'll just take a minute. We're just going to use follow me. All we need to do is just draw the stair profile and then just spin it. And then the third thing we need to do is do this roof. It's a little bit tricky. I've thought about how to do this. And then I don't think it's as straightforward as it looks.
I was about to say, I don't think it's straightforward at all. That roof looks very complicated.
I would love to be corrected if somebody has a better way. I would love to learn a different way to do it than the way I'm going to do it. The fourth thing, which is optional, I'll let you guys vote. So if you guys say yes or no, is going to be whether I put the stone texture. It's not going to take that long. It does make it look really great. Basically, it means I'm going to draw some lines. I'm going to copy and erase some lines in order to be able to put just to make it feel finished. Right now, it doesn't really feels unfinished.
Okay, cool.
So you guys, let's do this. I'm going to
start in the chat, folks.
Vote in the chat whether we want to do the stonework or not. I would say that it's going to take at least 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more.
And is your approach here that you're just selecting all the lines and just hiding them?
Yep. I have a keyboard shortcut, so Command E, so is hide. So like, for example, like IE for like eyeball. I don't want to see it. So the only tricky part is this window sill because it's very narrow. So you got to zoom. I could either select it manually or I can zoom like way in. Yeah.
I think the consensus in the chat so far is absolutely yes to the texture.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I was hoping you guys would say. Okay, I think it's gonna be worth it. Yes, it will take a few extra minutes. But... Okay, so oh, did I forget? I forgot this one. Whoa! Don't do that.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So Command E and Command W right next to each other on the keyboard. Command W closes, it quits SketchUp, and you got to be careful. You get to be careful because I've done that before. All right, let's do some stone. Oh, you know what we need to do really quick? We missed a column. Okay, so this column.
Randy says, quote, "The only tricky part, understatement of the entire stream."
Listen, I want to say really quick though that when I do this stuff and I take a huge chunk and I go big and I invite problems, I don't ever want to say, let me intimidate you. What I want to do is the opposite. My goal is to say, look at the power of what we're doing. Look at the way that if you know the basic tools and then you experiment with a few, you can see I've only used one extension, but you use the right extensions and you string them together in the order. You have the order of operations down, and you've done it a couple of times. It's just crazy fun and powerful. So I just want to make sure that I would really like to leave with making sure that nobody feels like, oh, I could never do that. This is way too crazy. This is way too complex. That would be not my goal. Here. We have these little caps. I'm gonna take this here and I'm gonna make this a component. And I'm gonna go Enter F for offset, 2 inches, and P for push-pull. I'm gonna go with 6 inches, close that gap, line down the center, push up. I'm gonna push this up along the green because I rotated my whole thing. So I'm gonna go 3, and I'm going to copy that, go into this component, paste it in place, X-ray, place that there, scale 1.25. I don't know, I'm just guessing what that scale factor is. Ooh, if it bugs you that I have some internal geometry from that offset, we just go in using X-ray mode and we just clean up that, that extra geometry.
Yeah, I feel like watching you speed model this is very soothing. I feel very relaxed right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna hold Shift, and in this time I'm just gonna do a stretch. So I'm just gonna kind of fake. I'm gonna leave it. It's minor. When I turn my X-ray off, it looks fine. Copy that same component. Yeah, see, maybe you're giving me ideas for like my channel. I just model and I just narrate what I'm doing step by step. Okay, now I'm gonna paste in place, and we're gonna go into X-ray mode, and then we're going to move. We're going to constrain to the Z axis. And then if that doesn't look right, then it may be because our scale is off, and we might need to just do a force. We might need to force the scale, which is what I call stretch.
And if hypothetically, we don't need to go down this rabbit hole, but if hypothetically it bothered you that you basically, had like geometry there, like overlapping as the component is arraying, like would you consider fixing that with like solid tools, or does it not bother you at all?
Oh, a lot of things bother me, but in a live stream, you just have to let stuff go. I would say if I was to do this properly, I would not be doing like I would not squash and stretch and stuff like that. I would, make sure that I have the proportions. I would make sure that I have clean topology. I would make sure that I, work in solids. There's so many things I would do. This is really lying fast and loose because we're doing a lot in 2 hours. Okay, this is tough here. I need to find this center point of this column, and I need to place it at the intersection between these two columns. So the reason why I did not do this column here, if you look at the reference image, this one here, is because it is at an angle. So it closes the gap between the faceted edges of the octagon, and it projects outward from the center. So what we need to do is, in this case, we need to, if you do this inside of this face, you end up having two of them because they end up sitting on top of each other. So what it makes more sense that we go into our overall pie component, our pie slice, not half a pie slice, paste that in place, and then what we find is that we get them all, we only get one component instead of doubling up, which is if we went into the inner pie slice, we would get, you can see they've doubled up, right? We don't want that. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to grab the same, did I make this a component? Yes, I did. We're going to grab the same component. We're just going to use the same one, and we're just going to be lazy here. Lazy modeler, maybe my channel should be called that. And I'm just going to kind of scale this proportionally, what I think is proportional. And I'm just going to sort of snap that into, why is that not snapping into place? And if that's, yeah, and I'm just going to kind of, I'm just
a little loose scaling there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now let's look at it in elevation really quick. What do you think?
I think it looks awesome. Yeah, I'm really curious though how you're going to tackle this roof.
Little ambient inclusion.
Nice.
I think that looks really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I say so myself. How am I going to tackle this roof? Okay, we got to do this roof. Should we do the roof or the stairs? You tell me.
Ooh, let's do the stairs.
All right, let's do the stairs. That'll be easier. Let's do that. So, stairs, easy. We're going to do this. We're going to go 5-inch. I think it's a Michelangelo step. That's it's 5. Michelangelo step is 5 by 14 or 5 by 15. So maybe someone in the chat can correct me. 5 by. Oh, this is actually really, really long. This is longer than a Michelangelo step. I'm going to go with. I'm just going to eyeball it. I don't need this perfect. I'm just going to say times 7, times 6, times 8. Okay, so, and then I'm just going to, if we know this is 4 feet up, and we go over, then what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to not worry if this is to scale or not. So again, this is where I would did something wrong there. So that little gap there, I need to close that because what I need to do is create a face. I need to create a face that's closed. So here's how we're going to do this. We are going to find the center line. We're going to slide over, and I'm just going to, this is it. This is the easy part. We're just going to set that at 60 sides. Oops, excuse me. And tools, follow me. And I lost my top face. I don't know why, and maybe I did something wrong. This is what happens when you're not using SketchUp in a year, or when you don't. Sorry, when you don't use it every day, you kind of forget stuff.
Sweet, yeah. Well, the light work of that. That's nice.
So stair. What we're going to do is come over here, and we're just going to put. I'm just going to. I know why that messed up. Okay, do you remember? I'm going to undo that step. Why? I'm going to undo all those steps. Get it? That was a little pun there. See, Aaron can't be the only one to have that much fun. You see why? It's because what I did was, you can see I did not group this reference geometry when I was drawing this kind of our little pie shape here.
Yeah.
And so what it did is I need to group that. What it's doing is it's interacting with our stair, and I don't want that. So sorry about that.
In case you need a little bit of encouragement, so far you have 21 subscribers on your new YouTube channel. So
Great.
remember, everybody,
See
get
if we can
over
get
there
to.
and subscribe.
I promise I'll have a video out by the end of the day. So that is my commitment to you, 21 people. Maybe we'll get to 25 by the end of the day. What do you think? Think we can do that, Justin?
Yeah, of course.
It's not too ambitious. Realistic targets. Okay,
Amazing.
so I know I could center this perfectly, but let's keep moving because I know we're getting close to time, and we still need to merge. We need to put this on the site. I'm planning to go over a little bit, maybe by like 15 minutes. So if people want to budget that into their schedules, if we lose you right at the top of the hour, I understand. And if you guys want to go over with me just so I can feel that this is finished, I can anticipate going over just by a little bit. So
totally. And if you have to hop, this is recorded, so you can always come back and watch at your leisure this weekend, when you got a little bit of downtime.
Yeah, good. Smart. That's right. They stay up on your channel.
Yeah.
So this is how tall I want to go to this. And then I want to come up to here, and I want to just build a really quick profile. I'm just going to do this like really kind of quick and dirty here. Ooh, what was happening there? Oh, I see what happened. Okay, so what we're going to do is do this. It's funny. Do you guys notice that my dog is just sitting here quietly this whole time?
Yeah. Dog has moved on the couch just once, but is very much posted. Keggy says, Eric can take as long as he wants. I ain't going anywhere.
Keggy, you're the best. Okay. Let me just move this over. Oh, you know what I did is when I changed my style, I bumped my profiles up, and I don't think I saved that.
That's right. Placify asks, is it a special shading plugin that you're using, or just the basic one? I think he's talking about the ambient occlusion, but yeah, that's just a part of SketchUp.
Yeah, I don't think I saved it. It's on. Oh yeah, there it is. It's ambient occlusion. I'm not using, excuse me, I'm not using the photorealistic materials. I use V-Ray. So like for me, for what we're doing here, turning on like reflections and environments won't help us. So I just want to stick to straight sort of default SketchUp, the old school SketchUp style. But I know that that's a new feature, so I want to make sure to kind of plug that. But the ambient occlusion is, yeah, it's just the basic setting. All right, the roof. Focus.
Yeah, how are you thinking about this?
All right, here's what I did. I drew a line because I need to know where the roof generally stops. Okay, so that's there. So what I want to do is move this to the center line. That's why we have this little center line, so we know that it's centered. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab a pie slice. But here's the thing: is I'm not going to grab the one where I'm not going to grab half a pie slice. I want to grab a whole pie slice. For this, I'm going to select all instances. I'm going to group them, hide them. And then I'm going to paste that pie slice in place so that we have just a pie slice. And we're going to move this up to, we need to move this up to this. It needs to move up to here. What this is, it needs to move up to the roof line. Oh, sorry. Let me see. I'm going to turn off, create a new style really quick. And I'm going to turn off my ambient occlusion. I think it's just going to be easier while I'm drafting. We'll turn it on at the end when we do all of our fancy.
Yeah, for the satisfaction at the end.
Oh yeah, we need a hook. Stay with us to the end for the big reveal. We're going to put it all. We're going to bring it all together.
Yeah.
Now, if I did this correctly, I have this segment of the roof. This is my bounding, this is my perimeter. Speaking of landscape, how they talk about grading perimeters, what we need is a roof perimeter. So what I'm going to do is weld those. I don't need this. That was all just temporary. Don't need this because we know our center point is here. I can just go ahead and just really quickly. I don't need 60 for this circle. I can probably bring that down to 24S because it's a very small object. And then what I want to do is go tools, follow me. That's the cap. So we're going to leave this cap here. We don't need that right now. We need this. We need this and this and this. And we're going to come over here to extensions. We're going to use an extension. And it's called Tool Palettes Soap Bubble. You guys have seen me use Soap Bubble before. We're going to skin this, but the reason why we're going to skin it is because we want to use Soap Bubble to skin and not something else. Because if you look at this, it's got a little bit of a dome. Could use Curvaloft for it, maybe. You know, could use even Landshape for it, probably. But I think I'm going to use what I know, which is I think Soap Skin Bubble works pretty good. I'm going to increase the density of our skin, that we're going to bubble. Right now it's flat. It's kind of boring. Would that work for us? Yes. I don't think that's, oh, sorry, my bad. This flat roof profile isn't going to be good enough. What we need to do is we need something a little bit more curvaceous. Now, I could just do a straight curve like that. That would probably be the easiest thing to do. Let me just give myself like a little bounding box to draw on. Something I learned from Tyson is that if you're going to draw a profile, it helps to have a flat plane to draw on. So for example, if I wanted to do a compound curve, like I wanted to do a bubble here, and then I wanted to sort of maybe do maybe a less sharp bubble, you know, or maybe something straight.
Nice.
Or maybe just do a straight line like that. Just keep it simple.
Yeah, it is helpful.
Oh, did not mean to do that. That's.
I was gonna say it is helpful to draw on a plane like that because then you're not drawing in 3D space. But
hang on.
Yeah, in theory.
Okay. Yes, sorry, I was drawing this. This was not sitting flush to that plane, and so it was snapping to that edge. I do need this. Here's the challenge: is I need this rotated to here, and now I need this to snap to that edge. I'm not worried if it's got this little kink thing here because I got that little dome cap on it. So I'm just going to roll with it and see if that works. So now we have a little bit more of an interesting shape instead of that straight flat roof. So if I did this right and everything connects and touches, I should be able to skin this. Increase the density of the skin. Now you've got a much more curvaceous shape that when we bubble, it's going to give us something more. Like let's say if I bubbled it 50. That's pretty good. Maybe 100. Whoa, too big of a bubble. Maybe 20. Nah, because then it's starting to dip. Looks like it dips in a little bit. So let's just go back to something. Let's go 40. Let's go a little bit less.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so let's just keep moving here, folks. All right, so now this, we need to make this a component. And then we need to mirror this. Sorry, not mirror it. We need to copy it. And we're going to go, in this case, we're not going to go 22.5. We should be able to go 45 on this one because it's a whole slice of a pie, not a half a slice of pie, times 7. And I think that's it.
Do you usually like soften edges on this type of thing or just leave all the edges there?
It depends, but in this case, yes.
Cool.
So what I'm going to do is just come in here because it's a component. All you have to do is, oh, why is that over there? I don't like that. I'm going to change this and change the axis. I'm going to change it. I don't care. I'm just going to, oh, you know what? There's a great extension. It's called Axis Tools. You go Extensions, Axis Tools, and then just say center, center, bottom, which is what I always do. And there it is.
Nice.
7 inches. There it is.
Ooh.
So there it is. There's my hidden geometry. Looks good. Let's see how that looks against the. Wow. Okay, so it's not as big, but I think it's because I was flying almost too fast and loose. I wasn't really following the scale as well as I should have. So I'm gonna go with
Yeah, it's all good. This is a live stream. I feel like it's incredible what you've modeled here in just like 20 minutes on this building.
Okay, yeah, exactly. We're gonna so thank you. Let's just give this a color here. Let's make sure that these are all grouped together. Group that together. Let's give it just kind of a gray color. And then do you guys want to do, we can still do this. We can still do this in the next 20 to 25 minutes. We can add the stonework, place the building in context, throw a wall around it, and then put some trees. I think we can do that in less than half an hour.
Oh yeah.
I think we should do this. So what I do is I don't need this anymore. We're just going to do some stonework really quick. Oh, to my question to the chat, how would they? How else might you do that roof to get that shape? Because I was thinking of different ways to do it, and I was like, I think this is the best way I can think of.
And for the stone texture, are you gonna pull that off the image, or do you have a
no? Sorry, I'm sorry. Going back to the roof question, like because I wasn't sure. Like, was that the best way? Maybe there's a better way to do that roof.
Oh yeah. Okay. Any other ideas? Drop them in the chat.
Soap skin. Yeah. This is a little bit messy because I did that batter because it's battered. I'm manually
carefully selecting here.
Very carefully double clicking so that I'm getting just these. The nice thing though is that because I use them as a component on the upper ones, I only have to do that once.
Yeah, that's true.
And then because this is a component, I only have to do this once. I'm gonna split that. Split it again. Okay. I'm just gonna put this. I'm going to put this
Monsieur Nab says that they posted a follow me solution for the roof on the forum. So yeah, good call out there. We will have to check that out. But yeah, I feel like the soap skin was a good approach though.
I thought about follow me, but I don't think it would have given you, because look, you can see how it gives you, you can see how it has this almost like onion dome kind of thing. And I just don't know. Maybe. Okay. I think that would have worked.
But yeah, this is awesome. I love that folks are modeling along the live stream, and yeah, this approach with the follow me looks really interesting. Nice work.
Should we make this model available afterwards to people so they can go around and play with it themselves?
Yeah, I feel like that'd be awesome.
Okay. Oops, I don't want this. I don't want the door. I don't want the windows of the doors. I just want the columns. So see what I did there? I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to there. I'm going to go times 11. And I know it's too many on that one, but I was just trying to be lazy and do them all at once. Okay, is it perfect? No. No, it's not. That's okay. Wait, where did I give the glass a texture yet or no? I mean the transparent material?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? We were talking, so we didn't do that.
Cool.
Do you think it helps?
Yeah.
You got a good eye for that kind of stuff.
Well,
Graphic design eye. Yeah, it's contrast, right? Doesn't it create that sort of visual contrast?
Yeah, gotta have it.
All
But
right.
yeah, I think the consensus in the chat is that yes, absolutely, we should provide this model. So yes, we will throw a link to the model in the YouTube description when all is said and done. Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second here. Oops. I sometimes I have a keyboard shortcut for command. It's Shift X for X-ray, and so sometimes I hit something else on my keyboard, like I change the camera angle. Okay. Some people are like, why don't you use hide rest of model? And it's like, that's a great suggestion. I should do that. Someday, we'll get there. All right. Here's a pro tip. If you've got something on an arc like this, then how do you know where the center point of this arc is in order to array the lines in that direction? I'll show you what I mean. This here. See how those need a center, they need to come from a center point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I need to know where that center point is. So my good friend and former classmate, Chris Fulmer, wrote a little script. It's called Arc Center Point Finder. That's what it does. If you take two faces of an arc, you need two because it needs to know, it calculates the point where they converge. Then you can click that, and what it does is it puts a guide point right there. So then I'm just going to draw a line here. I know this is raw geometry, so bear with me. We're just going to do this, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy this to there, and I'm going to divide this by 3. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, let's do that. And we're going to find where that extends because the one I copied was too short. And I'm going to get rid of that one. I'll tell you why, because that one's so close to this center point that I hid. I'm just going to unhide that. I do have to delete the one that I drew as my reference line. Unfortunately, I did have to draw over raw geometry to get that. Oh, what did I do here? Those lines, it's okay, because when I turn my profiles back to 1, I won't see those, but I can see it did not, or you can go through the effort, find where the line was too short, and then extend it so that it, yeah, okay. I want to get this done because I want to, we still need to place this building in context, and
yeah, plus we want to see the trees on the terrain. I feel like that's,
yeah, okay. Well, then let's just stop there. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do this one, and then we're going to stop. We're going to call it done. I think we did this. I think we did it justice. Oh, what did I do? I opened up extensions warehouse. Extension, Chris Fulmer tools. Okay, so that right there is the center point. Now, obviously, I drew this arc was not drawn correctly because the center point should have been centered on the door. So if you guys call me out in the comments.
yeah, I didn't know. Actually, I've never seen that extension before. Some people in the chat are asking if you can just do it with vanilla SketchUp, like if you can use like the inference point when you have the curve selected.
Well, this curve is broken, so the problem is that might work if the arc because now it's once you explode a curve, you can no longer find the center point. So that's where that extension I think becomes valuable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I think the answer is yes. You can do that.
Yeah.
Depending on what part in the process you do that. So I'm going to delete those guides. Edit, delete guides. Not perfect. We're going with it. Okay. Edit. Did I say delete guides? Delete guides. Okay. So
Cool.
Geometry looks pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Let's do this. Did I miss anything? No, that's it, right?
No, I think that looks wonderful.
All right. Then let's do this. Let's pop over. Let's pop back into Vista House, here we go. We are back where we started, and we are going to turn off color by tag. We are going to turn on materials. We are going to grab this reference image, though, because I do want to make sure that I'm placing it somewhat where I think it should go. It's not going to be perfect. It's okay. You guys are saying that there's a ramp there. Yes, I know there's a ramp there. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, we're not doing that today.
Not doing the ramp today. It's going to be a different stream. You guys bring me back. We'll do it then. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Monsieur Nab says missing hinges, door handles, etc., etc. We're not going to do that today.
Yeah. I never do that kind of stuff. I play architect, and I say play architect because it lets me, it gives me a reason to not do that. Okay, here's what we need to do. We need a retaining wall. So we're going to go into our, we do need a retaining wall. I am going to do that. Okay, so that's easy though, because this is, we just go offset 1 foot. And then what we do is we just lift. Oh, my retaining wall, I don't remember where it stops and starts, but I'm going to, well, we're going to find out. Okay. Okay. That retaining wall stops and starts right about here. And I know that the retaining wall curves. I'm not going to curve none either. I know this retaining wall comes all the way down here, but the point is where it shows up in our view. As long as we get it somewhere in that zone, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
We also have a sidewalk. So I'm going to save, and I'm going to offset this 5 feet. I don't know if that's the right dimension. I think it's a little bit shorter than that, but I'm going to go with 5 feet. So so we're using our control group. I probably shouldn't have done it in the control group. I probably should have copied it and pasted it out. The control group is what we've been using in Landshape to send our textures down into the terrain. But we're just gonna run with, we're just going here. So what I want to do is grab this, grab that, grab the retaining wall, grab the sidewalk, copy those, and then turn all this stuff off. All this like frozen stuff, this stuff that we don't need. Like I said, we're gonna, man, it's gonna bug me that I didn't get that one part of the process right. It's gonna kill me. So we're gonna go with 6, and then we're gonna bring this wall up. Yes, I'll smooth it. What do we think? 36 inches?
Yeah.
40 inches? Something like that.
Just enough that you don't fly over the retaining wall.
Yes.
Nice.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come in. Oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it. It's okay. We're going to stylize this thing. We're going to do some trees. Okay. One last thing. I keep saying that. How many times have I said one more thing? I have this component that I found on 3D Warehouse, and it's close. Yeah. It's not great, but it's close enough to what I think we want for a lamppost that I'm gonna use it.
You gonna do a PathCopy here, or how are you gonna get that around?
Yeah, dude.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, here's what we need to do. I need to take this edge. I need to take the whole edge. I need to weld it. And the reason why is because if it's welded, I can offset this one 6 inches. It's a 1 foot wall. So now I have a center line. I have a path for my PathCopy.
Nice.
Paste it in place. select this. I'm going to double check I'm just going to be safe. I'm going to come over to Axis Tools, and I'm going to say center, center, bottom, because I want to make sure that that component, because that's how it's going to follow the path. And then what I'm going to do is select the path, and it doesn't matter where this sits. This could sit anywhere. I'm going to select the path. And I'm going to go extensions, PathCopy. It's going to say, what do you want to copy? I want to copy this. How far away do you want it to be? We could go back and double check.
I don't know, ballpark.
But I think they're 20. I already looked at this, so I think they're 20 feet. So I'm going to go with 20 feet.
Cool.
Oh, interesting. I got to undo that. You know why? Because when I brought it in,
yeah, two separate groups.
It was in 2 parts. So we got to do that again. Extensions, Axis Tools, set for selection, and then we're going to go PathCopy, and it should remember that 20 feet. So we're going to go with that. I'm going to select all instances, and I'm going to grab a nice gray color. Let's grab our wall color. Speaking of our wall color.
Nice.
Just select all instances. Okay. Okay. I got my hot pink guy there. I don't know if I want him there. Maybe he's looking at maybe he's checking out the view over here. Stop looking at your phone. Stop looking at your phone. Can you just look up for 1 second? This does not have to be an Instagram moment. This can just
enjoy the view.
Just enjoy the view for a second. It's an amazing view. Group that.
I'm excited to see actually how you're going to bring the trees in. I feel like that's going to be the the icing on the cake.
Okay. Firstly, we need some trees. So what I need to do is grab. I've got some component.
Real quick, say if I ask, guys, what was the plugin that helps with the select and unselect edges and faces? I think he's asking about the positioning. What was that called?
Select and unselect faces?
It might be the one that you were using to position the lamp post, like on center.
This extension, this one is, if I come over here to window model info, and if I turn on under components, show component axis. Oh, why is it not there? That's weird. It basically what it's doing is that when you make a component, it's going to say it'll set a axis based on its bounding box, or what you can do is you can set one manually, right? So what Axis Tools does is it comes in and it says you can change where you want to place it. So for example, I want the red and the green to be centered on the center of the component, and then I want the blue axis to be at the bottom, so the bottom of the component. So what's nice about that is it means that when I go to array this, you can't see it. I don't know why it's not showing. Probably just because I'm trying, because I'm streaming and stuff just doesn't always work when you're going fast like this. But what it'll do is you'll see that it'll center the component axis. So when I array it on that center line, that's where it'll line up. Otherwise, if sometimes a component axis, especially with stuff from 3D Warehouse, it could be over here. And then when you go to array that, it's going to be all over the map.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Good call out there.
All right, trees. I'm going to come over here to components, and I'm going to open a local collection. And I'm going to come over here to my downloads, which I've got way too much stuff. But if we find something from, speaking of my friends at Holygon, they give you with Landshape, so, they give you some assets because they want you to get started. And they also have other extensions that I won't go into. I'm going to go into one of them now. And so they want to give you some of this stuff because under items. So they're giving you all these really cool components and templates and a bunch of stuff that I haven't even gone through and looked at yet. But for the components anyway, they're really helpful because in this case, they're like giving you their tree library, which I think is very kind of them. They don't have to do that. So I'm going to grab some trees that represent, I think, what feels like an Oregon forest. This one, maybe this one. And I just want some, I'm just trying to grab some variety. It just really doesn't matter a ton what I'm getting. Just, let's do that. Okay. And maybe the question for the Holygon guys, maybe they were painted on the outside rather than inside face, which is okay, because a lot of times I'll repaint them myself, but I don't know that they came in with their colors. So maybe there's a, maybe they know why. Maybe I did something wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of paint them a few different colors. That's good enough. So now we've got some trees here. We're going to leave these off to the side. We're going to scatter some trees. Now, the way I would do this normally, you can place them manually and then drop them onto the surface because it's really cumbersome to drop it, to sit here and copy one by one. I would not recommend doing that. Or you can use an extension like scatter, which scatters stuff. It does exactly what its name says. Or you can use, if you're already invested in the Landshape process, then you may want to take it a step further and grab their Placify. So Placify is for placing. So we're going to place some stuff. I only know how to do one thing, and it is to use what's called a spawn brush. So I'm going to brush some trees. I'm literally going to brush them onto the surface. And then after that, for those that are, I know we're just past the top of the hour. I'm just going to place the trees. We're going to set some camera views, and I think we're going to call it. So we are very close.
Cool.
So the spawn brush, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to select what I want to spawn, which is these 4 trees. And then I'm going to come over here to Placify, brush, spawn. Now there's all kinds of other things you can do. You can see there's so many. It's very powerful. But for me, I just want to be able to do 1 or 2 things. It's asking me density, fall off. So fall off is because it's going to spawn a group. And so it fall off is as you get closer to the boundary, they get smaller and they get, so you get sort of more variety. And density is how many you want to be packed into this little group. And then the size here at the bottom, if you look at the VFP, 30 feet is like how big of an area are you placing? So 30 feet, if I'm spawning like some trees here, can you see it? It's a little bit, light because it's green on green, but you can see that this bounding box, and it's previewing the trees that it's going to spawn. I put 200% density because I want to pack them in there, but obviously you could change that to whatever you want. I'm just painting. I'm using a small brush because if you're going to do like a little thin area, like a road like this, you probably want to use a nice small brush. But if you're going to do a really big area, you probably want to, you can change your brush radius. Before I do the whole thing, I'm just going to hit enter and see what happens, or return. There they are.
Amazing.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's so much easier than, just placing them manually or just.
They look so good too. These little polygonal, these little low poly trees. And if you put one in the middle of a road or something like that and say, okay, just go in, and it's better to spawn them everywhere and then go in and selectively delete a few than it is to go in. And one way, now I've got this aerial here that I'm working with, but you might not. So there's this really cool thing that you can do inside of Landshape. Let's see if I can remember. Under view, where is it? Maybe it's under main. I don't know if these guys are still on. It's late over there for them. It's not super important, but there's a way that you can, oh, maybe it's under prop. I'm going to, I don't remember where it is. Shade, there it is, shade. Again, you just got to learn the language. So shade, look what shade does. It does a slope analysis. So anything that's gray is going to be, the darker it is, the more vertical it is, and the flatter it is, the more green it is. Now, obviously, super green, I'm not going to plant because that means we've regraded that. Do not plant the road. But gray, basically, I want to stay out of the really gray areas. Now, I know that by looking at this, But if I was to spawn them, say in plan view, like for example, I wanted to do my brushing in plan view, this is really helpful because I can actually see much easier than the aerial where the slope is and where I want to stay out of. So I'm going to do that again. And bear with me. I'm going to do a bigger brush this time so that we can do more. Let's just say that I want to do 200, 10, and 50. 200, 10 foot, 50 foot. And I should get a bigger brush. And what that means is that I can just spawn more in one at a time.
Amazing.
Now that density might be a little tight. So again, same thing. I might go to 150, 10 foot, 50 foot. What it's going to do is it's going to, you can see I didn't gen those. So it in real time, it updated the density so that when I go to, so like if you wanted to do a really dense area and then like a less dense area, all you got to do is just change that. I'm not going to do the whole thing. If you guys will entertain me for a minute, I'm going to do just enough to kind of make this feel populated. And then I'm going to do them in batches because as you can see, I'm generating a ton of geometry. So I think it makes sense that you sort of batch spawn them rather than try to spawn like 10,000 trees.
Yeah.
At once.
I'm amazed how stable this feels too. I feel like my inclination before doing anything ever is just to, you know, always save by habit, but this is amazing. Safai says that he likes or they like to use random tools for this type of thing, but it's really nice that you could just like kind of paint wherever. It's cool.
I think that's nice because listen, I have a tablet with like one of these little pens, and it's kind of fun because this might be really fun because I'm just loosey-goosey, just sketching. And then maybe it feels a little bit more organic because I'm not. And what's nice is it's painting it on the surface. So I don't have to draw, I don't have to use like the drop tool. Like yeah. I would drop these in. I would do it on a 2D. I would probably work above the surface. And then I'd go in and drop these. Yes, it's crazy stable. I built this whole terrain and did this whole thing as a test. And I did not save once because I was just testing to see what would happen. And it did not crash one time, not once.
Yeah.
And that's because of the way Holygon works, that we're not working with the terrain mesh. We are working with sort of these control references. And this is just super fun cool. Because I'm just like literally just spotting them. Obviously, I'm going a little bit too wide. So I would just go in and just say, no, that's not going to work. I just delete those. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to bring my texture back, which is just, it's as easy as, taking this texture, this texture, this texture, and then coming in and right-clicking. I will save before I do this. And I will right-click this and say zone. Zone. And what it should do is it should restore all of my materials.
Amazing.
And then I'm going to, the last step is to, that's it. There's no last step. That's it. We're just going to turn our, we're just going to style it. I'm going to save the camera view. And we're just going to style this thing.
So cool. Yeah, if I had a sound effects board here, I would let the applause play for a solid, 2 or 3 minutes here. This is incredible.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. And thank you to Holygon again for just making this. And then you just answering my questions when I was like, well, I really wanted to do this. And what about, and how do I do this? I mean, I got my skirt. I've got my skirt. I've got my mesh. I've got my retaining walls. I know that I messed up on one step. That's gonna haunt me for quite a while, but I'm just gonna have to, for today, I know that it's possible. Camera field of view 50, and that's it. I'm gonna pause for any sort of last questions, and then you and I are gonna wrap up.
Yeah. Yeah, incredible. I can't believe what you were able to do in 2 hours here. It's It's amazing. We got some landscape, we got some road grading, we got some architectural work, and random placement of trees. I mean, got it all.
Yeah, I mean, got some water. I mean, what
Yeah.
more can you ask? What more could you ask for?
I know. That's crazy. I'm curious how big the file size of this model is.
Okay, let's look. Model info. Oh, hang on 1 second. Styles, profiles. There we go. I like the way that looks. That's looking pretty cool.
Yeah.
Window model info. We are less than 1 million, all in. No, over, slightly over if you count edges and faces. 891K and 340K, all in. That's totally manageable, totally doable. Do you want to know the actual file size though?
Sure.
Or,
yeah, we got a question here. How can I get this video after the live stream? This will be on our YouTube channel forever, you know, so this is great. I'm definitely going to come back and watch this as I, you know, try to figure out Landshape for myself. But yeah, what's the file size? What are we sitting at here?
23.4 megabytes.
That's incredible.
All right, so yeah, I'm just going to try. I'm just playing with. Do you like it with color or black and white better? I'm just trying to find a view that just to end this.
Let's do it with color. I love the color that you painted on the 4 trees.
All right, you got it. Let's do that then. Get a color going, and we'll just kind of play with the. The only thing is that you don't get the shadows on the terrain because of the color. But hey, we're good. We're good.
Yeah,
All right,
I guess we'll supply this file so folks can go in and
restyle it. Yeah, it'll be like a challenge. Restyle this file. All right, everyone. Let me just before we get cut off here, say thank you again to Justin SketchUp team for letting me just play. That's what we're doing. We're playing here, but at the same time, this is serious. This is serious business. People do rely on these tools. They do rely on these methods to do their work. And I think it's really cool that we can have fun and we can accomplish something together. So thanks for bringing me out. Don't forget, if you guys haven't subscribed, I know that I just set this up this week, but please join me at urbanstory.studio or urbanstory studio on YouTube. And I can't wait to engage with you guys directly and hopefully get invited back.
Oh, please, the door's open, Eric. But yeah, I just dropped a link to Eric's new YouTube channel in the chat. Definitely get over there and subscribe. But yeah, thank you so much for spending your time with us, for joining us across the world. And Eric too. I mean, this was absolutely incredible to watch. I'm blown away with what you were able to accomplish in 2 hours. Can't say that enough. But yeah, this was awesome. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Well, thanks, Justin, for awesome job hosting. Thanks, everybody, again. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. And otherwise, keep in touch.
Yeah. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you.
Cheers.